Hello, good people. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Make America Think Again with Vaughn, or Car Conversations. If you're here on YouTube, joining me here on YouTube, or if you can just hear my voice over the airwaves, it's not going to last much longer. So you need to join us over here on YouTube. Okay. I'm switching around platforms, but YouTube is going to be the home. So make sure that you make your way over to YouTube and you subscribe and you like the videos and you share them. Bring more people to the page. Okay, so let's talk about SNAP for a minute. This administration is playing pickleball or ping pong with people's lives right now. That's what's happening with SNAP. So this week, to just kind of recap and give you, something real quick in a nutshell in regards to SNAP. You had a judge, a federal judge, and a lower court say, no, you got to fund SNAP. And I think this happened on, let's say Wednesday or Thursday. You have to fund SNAP. People will go without food. You have to fund SNAP. You have to do it immediately with the emergency funds first, with the emergency backup funds, which remember last week I told you was about $5 million, right? Not going to cover even half the month for most people, but it was going to cover something. And then you had, it went to Felon 47's administration. They pushed back and said, no, we're not going to do it. And the judge was like, look, you got to do it. You got to feed the people. You got to use those extra funds, which led me to question, are the funds still there? Are they still there? I'm still questioning that, but let me move on. So they said no. And then you had a judge in a lower court again from another state say, not only do you need to fund SNAP, but you need to produce all the funds. You need to fully fund SNAP. Okay, the people need to eat. And then you have until 5 o'clock to do so on Friday. All right. So the Felon 47 administration said, okay, we got to follow the judge's orders. We're going to do it. To my knowledge, there were some funds released. Some people did receive SNAP benefits. And then later in the evening, we find out that they went back in, cut it off. I'm sorry, they went to the Supreme Court. They went to the Supreme Court and said, hey, until we resolve this first issue with the first judge, right? Can you put a hold on this again so we don't have to kick out any more money? And the Supreme Court decided, yes, we have to put a hold, and it's just a procedural thing. This really wasn't the Supreme Court saying, don't feed the people. But you got to look at how hard this administration is fighting to limit access to food for their own people. These are Americans. These are Americans. And I would be remiss if I didn't say the majority of people who receive SNAP benefits are in red states. Therefore, the majority of them probably voted for this administration. So they are literally slapping their voters in the face and saying, you know what? Nah, I don't want you to eat. I don't want you to eat. So they keep presenting it as, well, if Democrats open the government, then we'll release SNAP. But Democrats have no power. They don't have the House of Representatives. They don't have the majority in the House. They don't have the majority in the Senate. They don't have the White House. And they don't even, there's a corrupt Supreme Court right now. There's not even a majority Democrat. There's not even a balance in the Supreme Court right now. So the Democrats have no power. So for Republicans to think that they can keep trying to throw the ball in the Democrats' courts when they have no power to do anything, who are you fooling? You're not fooling anyone. We, the people, are not stupid enough to believe this. We know they have no levers of power. So you had The administration go to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said, yes, procedurally, we have to pause and wait for the original judge who filed this injunction for that issue to be resolved, right? So turn the spigot back off, turn the SNAP spigot back off. So as of right now, today, as I'm filming this, SNAP benefits have been cut again and put on hold by the Supreme Court. Again, this is what we kept telling you all in his last term, how he was stacking the Supreme Court, how he was lining up all these federal judges. Now, some of the federal judges that he put in position in his first term have actually ruled against him. That's been some of the pushback. So kudos to them for actually following the law. But the Supreme Court that we have right now is corrupt. Corrupt. But at the end of the day, you really need to think, why is this administration fighting so hard to keep food out of the hands of Americans? The largest group of recipients of SNAP are children, because you have children who can get SNAP through their home, but also you have children who can get free lunch through their school. So that's cut. So right now you have children that are not only going hungry at home, you have children that can't even get a hot meal at school because they don't have the free lunch, free breakfast, and they don't have the SNAP, their parents don't have the SNAP benefits at home. And this administration, who many of you voted for, are doing this to their own constituents. This is why I keep telling you to stop voting and stop supporting your own demise. You're voting against your own interest, and financially, a lot of us keep supporting our own demise. So that's what's happening in a nutshell with SNAP. We'll see what happens here coming into the beginning of the week. The felon has flown to his resort, Mar-a-Lago, and is probably throwing another party and is going to be golfing while millions of Americans go hungry this weekend. And as somebody put in my comments, nobody's starving. You don't know people's situation. That's number one. You don't know where they were in regards to food in their homes before this got cut off, because SNAP is staggered. People get like a re-up on their card at different times of the month. So we don't know where people are. I've already told y'all, I received SNAP before. I know there are different dates, okay, for different folks in different weeks. So we don't know where their food supply was in their home. But number two, yet, because we don't know how long this administration is going to stretch this bullshit out, because I strongly believe that they are using hunger as leverage. That is what they're attempting to do right now. They are attempting to move Democrats in Congress by using hunger of the American people as leverage. Starvation compliance. They want to try to get us in compliance with starvation. They're trying to get us in compliance in the streets with the icy folks. They want you to just comply. They want you to fold and comply and capitulate to them so they can have complete power. That is the plan, in my opinion. And now they have moved to hunger. But like I said last week, if Democrats cave once again in Congress, not only will you not have SNAP benefits, but you also won't have health insurance, Americans. Either you will get kicked off or your premiums will go so high that you won't be able to afford that shit either. And either way, people will die. So I will keep you abreast of the situation with the SNAP benefits. But hey, in the meantime, in between time, this is also building community. That's something positive that I'm seeing coming out of this. I'm seeing food banks and people doing stuff in their own neighborhood, just putting carts of food out, crates of food out for people to just come and get whatever they want to get, whether you're driving by or you live in the neighborhood. And then the neighbors are supporting each other by donating to the fund so that one neighbor can go out and buy all the food. It is forcing community, which is a good thing, because we need to get back to more collectivistic society. We become too disjointed, too separated. That's why it's so easy for them to drive this division. But I'm going to wrap this up, and here's the last thing I want to say to you. You and I, we're not enemies. We're not. When you go against me, or when you go against your neighbor, or when you go against somebody that has a different skin color, or they practice a different religion, and they're in the same socioeconomic level as you, they are not your enemy. The top 1%, that's the enemy. They don't want you to go any further than where you are right now. They don't want you to be more successful. They have talked y'all out of degrees. They have changed jobs to where, oh, we're going to outsource this to AI, and then the rest of it, so we can minimize our payout. We don't have to have as many workers if we've got all the robots doing all the work. But y'all aren't really paying attention, because they have drawn this, they've divided us so much. They've taken every opportunity to divide us. Oh, you got a racism problem? You got a racism issue? So they wiggle their way into that. Let's expand that. Let's further divide you. Oh, you're upset because all the Black women and the Black men are getting all the degrees, and you didn't go to college? Let's expand that. Let's redirect your anger over here and over there and over there, when it's the top 1% that's taking advantage of you. They don't care about SNAP benefits. They don't care if you eat. They're going to eat. So why should they care? And like I said, right now, because they've been siphoning so much of the money, so much of our tax dollars off for different things, whether you're talking jets for the puppy killer, or you're talking ballrooms, or you're talking, all this other unnecessary bullshit for Cash Patel to fly his private jet to go see a private jet that's actually owned by the people, to go see his girlfriend perform at a wrestling match. They're using tax dollars for all that shit. They're using the money that right now I'm questioning, even does it still exist in SNAP? Is that why they keep prolonging this and trying to stretch it out and trying not to release the money? Because they want to take those funds as well, redirect those funds as well into their own accounts, or their own businesses, or their own corporate contracts, government contracts, to make Elon the first trillionaire in the world. Y'all know that's a conversation too, right? Look it up, Google it, Tesla, look it up. So come together as a community, make sure that your neighbors, your community is supported. Those people that need food, those people that are struggling, let's make sure that we take care of each other in this moment, because listen, I've already said this, when people cannot feed their children, when people cannot keep a roof over their heads, when people are looking, where am I going to get my next meal? How my car got repossessed. The numbers of cars getting repossessed is going up. Banks are borrowing money because they're not taking money in, because people aren't paying credit card bills and aren't paying for loans. Are y'all aware of what's really happening? If you're only watching Fox News or listening to what comes out the mouth of that your orange Jesus, you're not aware. But this economy is on the precipice of a collapse. And I personally believe that this is one component of how they want to try to control Americans, and that's through hunger, starvation, compliance. I'll keep you updated as soon as more information comes in on SNAP. But in the meantime, in between time, support each other, come together for your communities.